despite having all the momentum in the world, they are delaying Hush 2, Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee returning to do a sequel to a very popular Batman story. And we kind of could have saw this one coming a mile away, Doc.
We had a feeling it was going to happen. I mean, Jim has not been anything approaching quick for his entire career, but especially ever since he's taken on that more management role at DC, his output has slowed tremendously.
So here's the details that we do have. The current Hush 2 run of DC's Batman comic book series by creators Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee has hit a speed bump, with retailers receiving notice on May 30th that the next issue will be delayed by 4 weeks. Batman 161 and Batman 161 Giant Size Special Edition have a new on-sale date of July 23rd. Both issues had originally been announced for a June 25 release. No reason was given for the delay. The new release date for Batman 161 had previously been the date for Batman 162. Batman 163 has also been announced for a August 27 release date. As of this writing, it's unclear whether the subsequent issues have also been delayed, and if so, for how long. Almost guaranteed those are also getting delayed as well. And I imagine they'll be getting delayed by a large margin. And the bad news is DC has all this momentum, and it's not just the Absolute Universe momentum led by Absolute Batman, but the sales for Hush 2 are very robust. It really rebounded following that very tepid, not very good Chip Zdarsky Batman run, and had reinvigorated and excited fans, and they were back in there for Hush 2, even though it's not a particularly good story, in my opinion. It was well illustrated, and they can't be doing this stuff as you're trying to close a margin with Marvel Comics and become, the market leader, at least for the intro.
And if anybody believes that just because this issue got delayed, that 162 and 163 are still going to come out on their timeline, well, I got a fucking bridge to sell you. This is just the start of the delays. I think we all know that. And it is the worst possible time for DC to do this. They're building momentum, and this is typical DC behavior of build momentum, start making a dent, get great word of mouth. You're kind of making up a little bit of ground. It's going to start accelerating if you keep it up. And what do? Like they always do, they turn around and shoot themselves square in the fucking dick by one of their big titles here getting delayed. It's the publisher that understands the necessity of building momentum in order to take over that market leader position. Does he offload some of his, day-to-day workload for a couple extra weeks to somebody else? No. Does he delegate? No. You signed up for the gig. It's a full-time job. Yeah, you had a month to work or a year to work on it, but do you maybe put in some 16-hour days? You probably fucking should, but Jim's just getting the book out whenever he damn well feels like it.
Yeah, and it's very prophetic on our part, because we did make a video, before I went on vacation, talking about, hey, DC's got all this momentum. It feels like they're really closing the gap on Marvel. What are they going to do to DC themselves for Jim Lee to have a year lead up? Because we were told that he started illustrating this comic book last summer. So he's had a full year to this point, basically, to get the art done. And now we're getting delays halfway through the book. There's another 2 or 3 issues after this. What's it going to take him? A year to finish it?
I know. Take him a while. This is going to be a fucking disaster. In 1 year, he couldn't get 6 issues in the can. That's a sad state of affairs. It's either an example of how bad Jim is at time management, or is a demonstration on how slow he's gotten to the point where you can't even consider soliciting anything that he's going to do until the work's completely done. DC cannot afford for Batman, of all books, Batman, to be not released and become basically a quarterly, semi-annual book. Based on this, if he's had a year already, is he still working on issue 4? Issue 5 is going to be 6 months from now, and issue 6 is another 6 months after that. DC can't afford for their number 1 title to be, a semi-annual release. Even if it's a quarterly, that's still too long. You need to have Batman on the shelf. Hell, there were times where Batman was coming out twice a month or like every 3 weeks just because it is DC's marquee title. I remember when he was doing All-Star Batman and brought Robin the Boy Wonder. Yeah, he got like 3 or 4 issues done, and then there was a major delay, and then there was a longer delay. And I think whatever the last one was, issue 8 or 9, was like a year later. That is not something that you can have if you want your marquee or your flagship book at the time. Maybe DC's looking at Absolute Batman as their flagship right now. The solo Batman book is what still gets the reader into the store. Okay, I get it. He wants to draw something. He wants to assign himself some work. But as the publisher himself, he can't be the one saying, yeah, I can have 12 issues or 6 issues done in a year, and you're only halfway done after a year. As somebody that manages people and time myself, I have to look in that and say, yeah, there is a 0% chance you're going to get the other 3 issues done in 3 months. If it's taken you 12 months to do the first 3, I need to do a filler arc.
And he's also screwing another person over, or a couple of other people, because it's also unclear how this delay will impact the previously announced September relaunch of the Batman series, with creators Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez attached. Even if Hush 2 is just delayed 1 month across the board, which is highly unlikely, will DC hold back the first issue of the new Batman run so that it's not released simultaneously with the final issue of the current run? And I don't think it'll only be delayed a month, but the Batman 1 relaunch from Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez was set out to relaunch during Batman Day, coinciding with that. And this is absolutely fucking them over in their spotlight. And now their relaunch is completely up in the air as to when it's actually going to happen. They'd set up a big relaunch of Batman, their biggest flagship title. They threw their best fucking artist on it for Matt Fraction coming, not really back to DC Comics. He's only done that Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen book. But he's getting his big redo as a comic book creator, and Jim Lee's fucked him.
Is it going to fuck up the relaunch? 100%. Now, unfortunately, I mean, to be perfectly serious and to be perfectly honest, is there really going to be that much of a difference in sales between a Batman #1 that comes out on Batman Day and a Batman #1 that comes out 2 months later? No, it's still going to sell the same units. It's still going to have the same sell-through rate. I think you're wrong, Doc, because a Batman relaunch at #1 coming hot off the tails of Hush 2, arriving on time, that had people excited, for the return of Jim Lee, wanting to see what's next for Batman, has people ready to go and support the book. A Batman Hush 2 story that's been delayed and dragged out for an extra 6 months, and then you get the Batman relaunch, you're like, I don't know, man. I was so fucking disappointed in how bad Hush 2 was, and it fucking delayed. Yeah, I mean, look, I can understand that. That take on it, yeah, absolutely. Fraction would sell better following a Jim Lee run that kept enthusiasm up because it kept coming out on a regular basis. It came out in a timely manner, and people were excited. It doesn't really matter how great or bad the story is. A Hush 2 is, I mean, at least thus far, is a pretty just kind of middle of the road Batman story. It's neither great nor terrible. It has wonderful art and a big deal because Jim's drawing it again, and because it's a sequel to something that everybody loved. Now, it doesn't need to really be great, and it doesn't need to knock anybody's socks off. It just needed to come out on fucking time.
And get people excited again about Batman after a bad run by Chip Zdarsky, and get them, fluffed for fucking Matt Fraction's Batman run, because Matt Fraction, while he does have some fans, he's not an enormous name in comic books, and he hasn't been doing comic books for a long time. And I think it's terribly unprofessional behavior on Jim Lee's part.
So are you saying that Jim Lee is Matt Fraction's fluffer?
Yeah, they were getting Batman fans ready for another relaunch with the lesser creator. Let's say they decide, these delays are going on too much, and then you've got Batman 1 coming out on time. I'm assuming that it's done and ready to go. Are we going to have Batman 162 coming out the same month as Batman 2? Are we going to have Batman 163 coming out in the same month as Batman 4?
Yeah, exactly. Are you going to...
That's pretty fucking confusing.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, hey, everybody's going to sit there, 30 years from now looking at trying to figure out the fucking reading order and going, wait, but this new series had 6 issues before the last 2 issues of this other book came out. I don't understand what's going on.
So I do think DC's self-sabotage has struck again, and we were once again very prophetic on the matter, Doc. They've got all the momentum, and they're fucking it up again.
Yeah, look, I mean, that is DC's brand. Unfortunately, that is their brand. They want to be the biggest publisher, but is perpetually stuck at second. Part of their brand is an inferiority complex to Marvel. Their brand is definitely way too much Batman. Give the audience all of the Batman that they can take at any given time. But their brand is also turning around whenever they have the momentum and finding some way to fuck it up. It doesn't matter if it's during the New 52 era where they just start pushing into that DCU run where it just decided, hey, everything's going well. Let's sabotage it by making a bunch of current year stories for our characters. Hey, look, this rebirth thing's working out for us. Why don't we make everything grim and gritty and dark? Hey, everybody's really liking this new Dawn of the DCU relaunch. Hey, let's interrupt it with a fucking event 2 months in. Whatever they can do to self-sabotage, they are the most self-loathing 20-something pretty girl that just has a lot of trauma. That's who DC is. They don't feel like they deserve to be loved, so they fuck it up.
If you like what we got going on here, we actually had a more in-depth conversation about this, unfiltered, unedited. I did have to edit it down here for the YouTube. If you like the entire conversation regarding Jim Lee, Batman Hush 2 delays, you do need to go to Think Critical. Patreon, the Doc Unfiltered podcast, will also have a awesome review of Giant Size X-Men Dark Phoenix as well. Hope to see you there very, very soon.